Hello everybody, I'm Allison. What's up? Some of my favorite things to share with you guys are lessons that I'm currently learning. And I don't know if that's selfish of me, if I should consider what you guys want to learn about. Let me know below if you have something that you think I should make a video about, that you would like to hear about. But anywho, today I'm sharing about something that I'm kind of learning the hard way through struggling with, and that is enforcing boundaries and communicating with people in general, managing triggers, all of that fun jazz mixed up together in this beautiful stew of struggle. So this came about by me recently enforcing boundaries with a few people and them not being super receptive to those boundaries, challenging the boundaries, pointing out a lot of flaws within me and me feeling triggered by that, and also in asserting those boundaries again, feeling very guilty and shameful at not being, I don't know, perfect about it, and also a little bit resentful at their not accepting my boundaries that I was putting into place. So a clarification that I want to make is that I have become very good at enforcing boundaries with my narcissistic mother and with certain narcissistic people in my life, with certain other people like further out in my life who are, I don't know, less involved in my heart, you know, my heartstrings all tangled up. But there's this weird gray area in between that very important relationship, very fundamental, primal, old relationship, and those more far away relationships that are like people close to my heart. And yeah, I think they lie on this spectrum, and sometimes I get them mixed up as being not narcissistic, but like on that side of the spectrum where like they're not respecting my boundaries that I'm enforcing because of this narcissistic in compassion, in consideration of my needs, of the reason being for enforcing my boundaries, that is me having a need that I'm trying to fulfill or honor. So I see fault in others for not being respectful of my boundaries, and it's kind of out of this absorption that I've had recently of figuring out how to handle and navigate my relationship with this narcissistic person in my life, with these really unhealthy people in my life. But in these other relationships, they're not that unhealthy. You know, these individuals and our dynamic in general, they aren't that unhealthy. I don't think that it calls for seeing them as unhealthy for not respecting my boundaries. You know, even if there is a kind of unhealthy response to me enforcing boundaries, you know, it's like not accepted and challenged, it doesn't mean they're unhealthy. What does it mean though? I'm finding that in some cases it's due to, well, me having used to be a yes person, a people-pleasing yes man, my always saying yes to things, you know, even if it meant deprioritizing my own needs, I would say yes to theirs. And in more recent days, they're obviously not used to that, me saying no and enforcing boundaries and putting my needs above theirs, or at least on equal levels. And maybe they're upset with that and challenging that. Or in instances I do say yes still, and then with later thought realize whatever it is that I said yes to was just not in alignment with my actual feelings, with what felt right for me, or with my ability to serve my own needs and honor my, you know, energy and time in life first before helping them with theirs, with whatever I said yes to. And so I backtrack and I say, I apologize that I said yes before, but I can't say yes now, and here's why. And then it's challenged, almost rightfully so. And so I'm learning to use this phrase, let me think about it. Let me get back to you. And I think that giving a frame of reference to anybody is fair. And so I say, let me get back to you in a day. I'll think about it for a day, or I'll think about it until we talk next, and I'll have an answer for you. You know, an actual thought out in alignment with me answer for you. Rather than just saying yes, or saying yes, then coming back and saying no. Say, I'm gonna think about it. That's my lesson going forward. I'm gonna think about it, and I'll let you know in this amount of time. And then actually let them know in alignment with what my heart wants to answer. For real, for real. So what if I do that and then I'm still challenged when I enforce that boundary, which just doesn't even seem like a boundary. It's just like me honoring what I can do and what I can't do. What happens then? Well, I'm learning that me perhaps saying no to a boundary is a trigger to other people because of the thing, you know, that I mentioned earlier. Because perhaps a narcissist in this other person's life has said no to them or denied them of their needs and what they are requesting. And they're projecting that narcissism onto me, you know, transference. You're transferring that relationship's dynamic onto ours. And so in that case, through actions and honest, nonviolent communication, empathizing with their needs and with their request and clarifying, our answer is based on our needs, not on any inconsideration of theirs or any lack of compassion for them, any meanness in general. It's about us, you know, it's nothing personal about them. And, you know, trying, you know, having a healthy relationship, that is how you move forward in that instance. You know, to try and give you guys a solution to something that I'm just trying to bring to light to you guys because it came to light in my life. When people are triggered by my denying of their request or by my enforcing a boundary, I believe it's a projection of an unhealthy relationship on their end onto our relationship. And actively showing our positive intention for the relationship and showing up when we can, even more often than we, I don't know, think we can. Just trying really hard. That is how to move forward. I have expressed this, one second. I read this really great book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I made a video summarizing it. And I'm going to try and get those notes onto my website. So check out the link below to check those out. It's kind of a dry book to read. A lot of anecdotes where there could be more simple explanations. But anywho, there's really good stuff from that book. And so I'll share them with you without you having to read it. Okay, watch the video, read the notes. But one of my favorite takeaways is an emotional bank account with ourselves and with other people. And with other people, you have this bank account that has this balance. The balance is either positive or negative, and you either make deposits into your relationship bank account or withdrawals from the bank account. So other people could take you denying a request of theirs, enforcing a boundary, blah blah blah, as a withdrawal. And it's important, I guess, to express that it's not making a withdrawal from them. It's more so not making a withdrawal from your own personal bank account. And in a way, not making a withdrawal from your inter-relationship because you're not saying yes to something that will actually build resentment on your end, which will be like a withdrawal. So you're enforcing a boundary is actually to maintain status quo, the balance in the bank account, and that's one way to look at it and express it. But why did I bring this up? It'll be easier to enforce boundaries and say no when you have to if you're consistently making deposits, proactively making deposits in that emotional bank account, in your guys' relationship, by giving them validation when it's not even asked for, by giving them anything, your time, your attention, your love. That is a good way to make emotional investments, deposits in your relationship. And just to add on to that little point, whatever it is that you want in a relationship, give that to the relationship. Rather than seeing that the other person is lacking putting that in the relationship, give it yourself. So for instance, if you want to have deeper intellectual rather than seeing lack in another person, seeing that they're not putting this into the relationship and it's not there, oh my gosh, spiraling into that mess of thought, give that to the relationship. So if you want deeper conversations or more intellectual, fun, philosophical conversations with a person, or you want more going out and doing activities, or I don't know, intimacy, whatever it is that you want, instead of seeing that the other person isn't bringing that to the table, you bring that to the table. Bring it to the table over and over and over, you know, build that momentum yourself. And the other person, if they are, you know, healthy and invested in their relationship, they'll probably pick up on that and then also add to it unconsciously in that same way that you started, that you created, because you desired it. You know, rather than putting that responsibility on the other person, take radical responsibility and bring that, and trust that by doing so, the other person will also do that thing. Okay, so on the flip side of another person challenging our boundaries is us not realizing when another person is setting boundaries and not accepting another person and their boundaries. So I don't know, I guess just flip the advice onto ourselves that I just said. Be mindful that when another person denies our request or sets a boundary, that is because they are honoring their own needs. And rather than seeing it as a withdrawal, see it as them honoring their energy and investment so that they don't build resentment towards us for us demanding rather than requesting that they meet our need in some way. So this is where a lot of these impulsive reactions come into play for me personally. When someone denies my request, sometimes I just guilt them. And it's really, I don't know, terrible to admit. I hate it. Or I get frustrated with them. But just as we build awareness, be aware with our communications with others that they don't mean to do us harm. Again, not projecting this unhealthy relationship and past relationships, family dynamic, onto our present, hopefully healthy relationships. Most people don't mean to do us harm. Most people don't really consider, I don't know, our feelings, but not in like a very unhealthy way. It's just they're doing their own thing and they're really not trying to personally attack us or harm us. They're actually probably trying to do the opposite. Maybe not. Maybe they're just doing their thing. Whatever. It's important for us to just gain awareness within ourselves and not react in an unhealthy way that's going to withdraw from the relationship, even if we feel that they withdrawed from our relationship on their end. You know what I mean? Just, it's this balance, and honestly, that's the part that I'm working on most right now. To sum up, like, my personal lessons and where this is all coming from, I started out my journey from trauma Allisun to, I don't know, post-traumatic growth, resilient Allisun, proactive, resilient Allisun, as a lost child. To put it so freaking non-comprehensively generalized, briefly, lost child, didn't really have a voice, but I had lots of resentment for so many things. And then, I guess, imagining like a pendulum, we are apart, you know, we're like kind of in the flow of the forces of nature. I was on this side of the spectrum with no voice, and then I was like, I have a voice, I have needs, I'm going to assert them, blah. And I'm mad that other people aren't necessarily, you know, respecting what I'm enforcing or picking up what I'm putting down, like, so easily. They're kind of, I don't know. don't like to think about how I have affected others in this big force of my change from totally not assertive to probably overly assertive in a way that's inconsiderate of other people's needs. So I went to this side of the spectrum. And now I'm going back to this side of the spectrum where my biggest struggle is hearing other people. Hearing when they challenge like my asserting a boundary as them honoring their needs and them being confused and hurt. And also hearing other people when they initially assert a boundary or a need of theirs. And just hearing people, hearing what's going on in their heart, because they have just as complex a life as I do. And, you know, I like to think that I'm very sensitive and empathetic and compassionate and all that, and I am so much of the time. But it is sometimes easy to get lost in all of the healing that I'm going through. I'm sure you guys can relate. And therefore a little out of touch with what other people are going through. And so I think I'm swinging back to working on being a really active listener, working on those skills rather than my assertiveness. Just listening and connecting from more of the observer route, you know, going with other people's flow a little bit more than my own. I'm over here somewhere. So that's where I'm at in my journey. Where are you at in yours? Are you still learning to find your voice? Maybe you can go a bit less far in this direction by hearing what I have to say in this video. Maybe, I don't know, I can give you a push in one direction or another by helping you out in some way or another. I hope so. I'm gonna go. I just wanted to share this with you, honestly. If you enjoyed listening, that's cool. I'm glad. And I hope that you guys, I hope that you have a really good day today. I really, really do. And I will talk to you next time. Peace. Love. Bye.